We are live. Happy Sunday. It is Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here to help you to create a life that your career can't destroy. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Let's dive in. Let's talk. We didn't go live last week, so I'm going to take last week's topic because y'all need that and make sure we incorporate that into this week's topic. So today we're going to be talking about why your schedule keeps falling apart, but not just the why. We're going to talk about how to build one that works. And so, I know it's Sunday, and y'all know what I tell y'all to do every week. Do a brain dump, do list, get your schedule and all of that together. But if you find yourself consistently and continuing to plan your week, number one, don't stop doing it. But if you keep consistently planning your week and that plan completely falls apart come Tuesday, come Wednesday, heck, even come Monday, I want to talk about why that keeps happening. Because we want to make change. We want to plan, we want to change, we want to plan, but not only do we want to have a plan, we want to be able to execute on that plan. And so I don't think that you're bad at planning. You smart, you confident, you know what you're doing. But what I think that you're bad at, which is where I come in as a coach, is you're bad at building schedules for a version of your life that doesn't actually exist. And so you're out here creating these things to support you, but the things that they're created to support isn't the reality of the life that you live. And so, yeah, why is this not working? You and we're gonna dive in and we're gonna really talk about this, but I kind of just want you to think big picture. You currently are filling up every available minute and second in your day. You're treating these tasks like they're going to happen without interruption. You're scheduling based off of what shows as available, i.e., filling every minute of time, but you're not actually taking into account your capacity. Like, do you have the mental capacity? Do you have the energy for that? Like, just because your calendar says you're available, are you actually? Mm-hmm. And because you're scheduling everything based off of there being open space, you're not taking into account that things run late, things start late. Um, and I know we show up for work every day, but you're assuming that when you show up for work every day, you're gonna have the same energy every day. That your capacity is gonna be the same. I get that we work 8 to 5 because we're not bringing work home, we're not staying late. But each and every one of those days gonna look differently. And you think that you can plan based off of this ideal, this perfect, this picturesque week, but you don't actually open your calendar and open your planner when you're planning to take into account the real week. And so, if that, any of those is why you feel and you find that your schedule keeps breaking, I want you to understand that the answer isn't to stop planning. We need to look at how you're planning. We need to examine how we're planning, and we need to create a better game plan to execute on that planning. And so, no, the answer is not to stop planning. Please don't do that. Absolutely not. Don't do that. But the answer is instead to build a plan that's able to survive the realities of your life. And so, if we can understand and if we spend time looking at and really understanding, why is this not working? What have I been doing? And what about the things that I've been doing goes into and takes into account why this isn't working? Because if we really understand that, then we can fix it. And we can understand and we can utilize and we can make plans for the things that are going to actually work. And so that's what I do as a coach. Like, as a productivity and accountability coach, when I talk about helping you to create a life that your career can't destroy, that's what we're talking about. And so when we take time to actually look at what's really happening, how about we start with the reality? Let's start with what's actually going on. I get we have these hopes. I get we have these dreams. I get that we have these plans. And I'm not knocking that. Your girl is a planner. But before we can get to the plans, let's take into account the reality. Hey girl, hey, you see I got my moo on. Let's start with the reality. What have you already committed to? What's actually already on your schedule? What's actually already on your calendar? Where are you supposed to be? Because if we take into account what you've actually already committed to, the things you've said yes to, and let's not talk about the fact that you automatically say yes to things before you even think about it. And I was listening to a podcast earlier and it reminded me of this. Shonda Rhimes wrote the book, The Year of Yes. And the idea, I think I read that book. The idea was about saying yes to things that you would normally say no to. But here's the problem with that. Your overcommitment, that's your aspirational goals that you can do all of these things. But the reality is you might be saying yes to things that cause you to overbook yourself. You might be saying yes to things that has you supposed to be literally in 2 different locations. My coach talked about how she had an assistant and she would just, commit to and say yes to these things and not let it go through her assistant. And so her assistant was like, you said yes to these 2 different events. One has you in, I don't know if these are the actual locations, I'm just throwing out random locations. One has you in Texas, one has you in Carolina on the same day. How sway? And I get that's an extreme situation, but the reality is that for some of y'all, that might actually be the reality. But let's look at it on a more practical and on a more realistic timeline and example. You have committed yourself to being in court, to a meeting that clearly is not going to take place in the courtroom. You're not taking into account the fact that you have to actually commute to the meeting, because it's not a meeting that's in your office, it's across the street from the courthouse. You're not taking into account that school's just started back. And I know up north, y'all about to get ready to prepare for school like after Labor Day. But like school has started back. So are you taking into account that these kids got stuff that they got to do? That you got to pick them up on time? They be trying to charge you, if you don't pick them up on time, to call DCF and stuff. Like, are you taking into account any and all of that? Because when you really think about what you're doing, are you actually thinking about what you're doing? Hey girl, when it comes to what are you scheduling? Like, okay, we built out these schedules, we built out these plans, but how are you taking into account the time? For example, I said that I was going to spend all yesterday on this computer working, and I did. I had a whole to-do list of things that I was going to accomplish and knock out. The reality is I didn't make it through not even a quarter of that stuff. Maybe I made it through a quarter. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But the reality is that I didn't take into account how long something was going to take. So, for example, we got access to all the photos from the conference that I went to last week. And I was trying to download them to find, the photos of me, the videos of me, some of the B-roll stuff that I might want to use. Bet. Now, they had it all organized, and I'm thankful for that. But it was 4 different photographers, 2 different videographers. There were 3 days of events. One day had 2 days worth of events. So I had literally 12 to 14 different links that I needed to go to find clips of me for 3 different days. What I thought, and I did this on the computer. So I've got, right clicking, multiple tabs open. Y'all know I love me some tabs. So I'm getting this done. I was co-working with my friend, and we ended up co-working for 2.5 hours. It took me a good 2 hours to get through all of those links to find the photos and videos of me. And because I did it on the computer, I was able to add them straight to my Google Photos and add it into the album that I already had going. Now imagine if I would have done that from my phone. Number one, absolutely not. We would have given up. But the reality is that I didn't know that I was going to take that long. So when I planned out my day, I was like, okay, bet. It's probably going to take me an hour to download these photos. No big deal. Planned that out. Accounted for that in my day. That wasn't the reality. And this is a thing outside of work. So how many things are happening at work that is causing the same thing? Now, y'all know last week, well, y'all might not know. I'm starting this, or I'm 4 days in. I'm doing this thing called 30 Days Ahead. And essentially, I'm tracking my next 30 days. It's 26 days left. Because come mid-September, I have this 6-week streak where your girl ain't going to be here, there, everywhere. But what I realized in the course of starting this is that work is my sticking point right now. And given, I need to plan for and account for work. But last week, I was supposed to be chilling in my office all week. I had court one day. Or did I go to court twice? I don't remember. But I literally was there for less than 5 minutes. It took me longer to walk to court than it took me to be in court. But I digress. But I realized that things are going to pop up. By nature of my job, criminal defense attorney, I get that things are going to pop up in terms of work. But how are we planning and how are we allocating our day? And so whether you're doing it at work, whether you're doing it in life, or whether you're doing it in your business, the reality is that we aren't planning for the reality. Because the reality is that things is going to change. Exactly. The struggle is real. Who chat? And so when we take into account that, when we take into account what needs to change when it comes to building this schedule that's going to actually work, you need to take into account the reality. And the reality is that sometimes we don't even know what the reality is. But we do know that things are going to change. Now, given, it might change for the better. Like, you might have had meetings on your calendar and they got canceled, so now you have additional time. Bet, say less. You might have things on your calendar that were planned for X amount of time and they took shorter time. Bet, say less. But we aren't going to know that. So it's better to overplan, and it's better to think about and plan for the reality that things aren't going to always go perfectly. And now they might go perfectly in a way that benefits you, but let's plan for the contingencies of the time that they're going to not go perfectly and they're going to affect us. Exactly. Heavy on the things that are going to change. Because that takes us to the next point. We need to stop scheduling 100% of your capacity. Now, when I talk about capacity, you look at your calendar. For example, me, yesterday, prime example. I literally had nothing on my calendar. Nothing. I have nothing to do. No calls, no appointments, no nothing. Your girl slept in. Now, I didn't necessarily plan on sleeping in, but my body said rest. And I was like, let's take it on my calendar. We can do that. I got up. I did my workout. Went for my run. Meal prepped. Kitchen was a mess. I ended up washing dishes at the end of the day because my food needed to cool off. All the things. But I looked at my calendar and I was like, I have literally nothing to do. And I planned for that. I planned to be in front of this computer all day. Like, after I meal prepped, I was like, bet I probably sit down, because normally I finish meal prepping about 11. I'm like, about 11 I should sit down, and I'm planning on being on the computer till 8 p.m. I was, in fact, on the computer after 8 p.m. I think it was like 9:30 when I got off of co-working. But even with that, the amount of things that got done. And so you feel like, and trust me, I get it. I love planning. I love productivity. I love structure. I be trying to plan for every minute of the day. But when you do that, if something runs late, if something pops up, now your entire day is destroyed. Because that one interruption threw off everything. So we have to stop trying to schedule 100% of our capacity. Because oftentimes when we do this, we don't take into account, like I said, the reality. It takes time to get to and from court. If y'all ever been, we can use a doctor's office because I don't want y'all to have necessarily been to court, child. But if you've ever been to a doctor's office, you got an appointment that's at this time. And how long will it take them to call you back to actually check on you? But if you have your calendar booked out to back-to-back appointments, that gives no wiggle room. Girl, yes, we were still on till 9 p.m. Your friend was like, is she coming back? I'm like, she went to record content. So I'm glad that you got so much done. I got stuff done. It just wasn't everything that I wanted to get done. But I can say that today, even though my calendar has much more appointments on it today, your girl been locked in, been working, and been focused. So much so that I hadn't ate yet today. I had an apple and a plum, but I hadn't had no real substantive food. I took it out, and I'm going to have like 30 minutes to eat after I get off here before I got a new client that I'm onboarding. But we're scheduling at this 100% rate, and we need to stop doing that. Because when you think about it, and the reason that I tell y'all every single week, and I'm still advocating for this, do a brain dump, make a to-do list, check your schedule. Because when you do that, you can decide what actually has to move. Like, what do we need to take into account? Because everything that's on that list, it doesn't deserve equal access to you or your time. Like, this happens at work. People be trying to schedule these last minute meetings because they're available. And I'm like, no. What we not finna do is that. The other day, I was traveling. And I was just riding with my god sister in the car. And so I had a hotspot. And so I was like, bet, I'm going to work from home, but I'm going to work from the car. And then basically, we was traveling to Tallahassee. So I was like, bet, I'll get to lunch. Basically, lunchtime, we should get to Tallahassee. We'll get the hotel room. I'll work the rest of the day in the hotel. They were sending emails. I got my hotspot, so I'm working. I'm putting in notes from the jail because I had went to the jail the other day. I had like 8 people's notes to put in. So I'm putting, I'm just riding. She driving. I'm riding. Typing in notes, putting notes in. Bet, say less. Then this email started coming in about, can we schedule a meeting for today? No. Well, I just put it on the calendar. I said no. Like, I get that I'm online and I'm working, and I am. But I'm actively in a car. So if you're going to ask me too many questions, you're probably not going to be able to hear me. There's going to be horns. There's all kinds of things. No. Because why do we suddenly need this emergency meeting? We just had a meeting 3 days ago. Your emergency doesn't mean my emergency. And so when we decide what has to move, like, I'm not canceling what I'm doing because I'm actively in it, mind you, at this moment. Everything on your list doesn't deserve all of you. And number one, that wasn't even on my list. That wasn't my focus for the day. Their emergency don't have to be your emergency. It don't. Exactly. Scheduling at that rate can get dangerous. Incorporating travel time. These are all things that we have to do. Because what's actually important? And the reason that I'm doing this 30 days ahead is to help me stay locked in on what is important. Because originally what started out as me locking in like on my nutrition and all of that, because I've been doing all this travel to make sure that I'm ready for this race, became me realizing that, yes, I do need to do that. But really, I need to make sure that I'm locked in on business because, like I just said, we got this new client that I'm onboarding, and she got 6 weeks of coaching. So her 6 weeks is going to roll over into where this 30 days ends. Like, we're going to be 2 weeks into this busy season, and I need to plan for an account for that. I have a masterclass that I'm going to be hosting during this time. I got stuff that I'm doing for business that's podcast interviews, asked to speak at an event. Like, I got stuff that's going to be happening during this time. So that's business. Life. I still got to take care of this house. I still got to pay these bills. There's still stuff that has to be done. And work, because of the fact that we work full time, yes, I'm taking off of work, but I have to plan and prepare. My clients will be advocated for. They will be represented. Now, given that they're not going to have court dates on days that I'm not there. 2 of them currently do. And I realized that last week, and I was like, hey, I already talked to the state attorney about it. They're like, cool, I'm okay with moving it. I'm like, bet. I'm going to wait till the first week in September to send an email about this court date that's 3.5 weeks from now to see if we can move it because I'm going to be out of the office. He had no objection. So we on the same page. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I noticed last week that a client has court a month from now on a day that I'm not going to be there. And so next week when September starts, I'm going to send an email to say, hey, can we move this? Whether that means moving it up or moving it back. But can we move this? So because of the fact that I'm going to be doing all the things, and the 6 weeks of business isn't just for me in life. Some of it is life travel. Some of it actually is business travel. Like, my job is sending me to a training. Some of it is, I meant work. Sorry. My job is sending me to a training. Some of it is business travel. Like, it's a mix of all of it. And so what does that look like for me to plan? That's where it comes into play. I don't want y'all to think that it's this all or nothing. Because y'all know, number one, y'all know we don't hustle and grind, which is why we're doing this 30 days ahead, for me to show you how you can plan and prepare for a busy season without hustling and grinding. Because your girl still, in that 6 weeks of busy, still intends to get her workouts in. I still intend to have sleep. I still intend to have fun. Because, like I said, there's some fun travel. Like, we're going to do what we need to do in this time. So what actually has to move? Because exactly, free doesn't equal available. Their emergency isn't your emergency. What you mean you got a meeting, trying to schedule a meeting during my focus time? Like, most people at work know that 10 o'clock is what time I go for my walk. So when it comes to me scheduling meetings, don't be trying to schedule meetings at 10 o'clock for my walk time. Like, I need my walk. But even outside of that, like, Tuesdays is my mastermind days for my mastermind that I'm in. And now, given this isn't me taking time away from work, my calendar is blocked on Tuesdays for lunch. And normally I don't block my lunchtime like on my calendar because, number one, for the most part, I control my calendar, and people know. They know that I get hangry, and so they intentionally don't schedule stuff during lunch. When they try to schedule something at 1 or 1:30, they ask me, hey, is it okay if I schedule this at this time? Because normally I take my lunch break at 12:30 instead of noon. But Tuesdays is my mastermind day, and so our coaching calls, we have one in the daytime and then one at night, is at 12. It's during lunch. So on Tuesdays for the next 18 months, well, for the next year, because my mastermind is 18 months, Tuesdays is blocked 12 to 1. Don't schedule. Really, it's blocked from 11:30 to 1:30 to give me to create that buffer time. We don't do that. Because I paid for this mastermind. And y'all paying me to be the word, but y'all also give me a lunch break. So we're going to make sure that that's accounted for. Because what? And so, what has to move? I know that at the end of September, them 2 clients who got caught when I'm not here going to have to move. Because I want to make sure that they're at... Because here's the thing. You know how... Now, look, I don't got kids. But you know how kids suddenly act up, or teachers, students suddenly act up when you're away? Clients do the same thing. They know, they be knowing what's going on with their case. We have a whole conversation, but they get in court and act up when I ain't there. I've learned that from 10 years ago. So no, we don't do that. People be trying to throw curveballs, and I don't need y'all to be confused. It's me and you. We on the same page. Now look, because once you can identify and decide what actually has to move, you can build that into your day. Because here's the thing, when it comes to planning, when it comes to productivity, work-life balance, to-do lists, all of the things, whatever word and phrase you want to use, when it comes to all of that, when we're planning, your plan shouldn't only tell you when to work, which is, for me, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. We don't bring work home. We don't stay late. Okay. But it should also tell you when you've done enough for the day. And now, this isn't to say, and now, I got a friend who, she may or may not be on here, who will tell you that she's done enough work for the day and be like, I'm done, I'm out. It might not be the end of the day, but if you did enough work, maybe you can tap out. All right, I'm out. Now, I don't have as much of that ability to do so, though I'm salaried. I can't just leave because I've done enough for the day, but I can pivot what it is that I'm working on. And so maybe I've done enough deep work on the cases. Maybe I've drafted a motion. Maybe I've done some of these things. And so now I can do some more strategic planning. Like, okay, let me organize. Like, let me clean my desk. Let me make some pretty files to put these things in. Like, maybe I switch to that. And so that's what I mean by your plan should not only tell you when to work, but it should tell you when you've done enough. Because sometimes we feel that we can never be done, because the reality is that the to-do lists, they're never ending. There's always something else you can do. Always. I've had cases that were set for trial, and then at the last minute the state got a continuance or something happened and the case had to get rolled. That case was 100% ready for trial that day. Now we got another month before it's going to go to trial. There's something else I can do. Because it was good enough. It was good enough at that point. But now that I got these trial goggles on, I done thought of something else we can do since we got another month. Plead the fifth, girl. I know a good lawyer, child. I don't know if she barred in your state, but we'll figure it out. What are you building into your day that not only helps you to understand how to start your day and how to plan your day, but most importantly, how to end your day? Because we need to have, like, there's a connection. Because sometimes we find ourselves just getting up like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, it's time to go home. But did you wind down from your day? Like, now get it. I get that sometimes you just got to get up from the desk and be out. Like, you don't shut down the computer, you don't make your to-do list for the next day or nothing. So when you come in the next day, now you're like, where did I even leave off? Did I even push save on this document? And so what I want you to understand, and what I'm hoping is coming across, is that it's not one or the other. It's not all or nothing. If the schedule that you have right now, or the lack thereof, keeps falling apart, if day in and day out, week in and week out, you keep telling yourself you're going to try again next week, tomorrow, next month, God forbid next year, please don't even. I want you to understand that when it comes to you building a schedule that actually works, you've got to take into account the reality. And the reality is that real isn't perfect and perfect isn't real. So stop planning for these aspirational things. Now, I'm not telling you not to have goals. Stop planning for this aspiration of this perfect day and start planning for the reality of your day. When it comes to scheduling, don't just schedule every single minute of every single day because it looks clear. Because when are you going to eat lunch? When are you going to commute? What happens when the client texts you, I'm running 5-10 minutes late? What happens when something pops up? Now everything is just thrown in the crap. How do you decide what actually needs to move? What's important? Their emergency is not your emergency. I got that. But how are you deciding which emergency is your emergency? What helps me get up and start my day before my day starts? Exactly. Morning rituals. A morning routine. I'm naturally, and this comes into you understanding when you work best. I am a morning person. I'm naturally a morning person, which is why me being on that computer at 9 o'clock at night, that's not me. I was struggling, which is why I was on there so long, because I was like, let me just finish this one thing, because I was in the middle of it, and it wasn't really I was trying to get to a good stopping point. But having a morning routine is what helps me. Now, I know you can't see, I know I can't see how you look at me when I say this, but I wake up at 2:30, Monday through Friday. This weekend, y'all, I slept in till 6 something, both days. But I'm in no way, shape, or form telling you to wake up at 2:30. But I wake up early in the morning and start my day. Like even this weekend with me sleeping in. When I get up, I do my morning routine, which is like do my devotional, do my journaling, get myself together to get ready to go for my workout. Which for the weekends is like I do a stretch and then I go run. Normally, since I woke up at 6 something, it was starting to get light outside. I went and ran first and then I stretched. But having a morning routine. I told you I wasn't telling you to wake up at 2:30, girl. Like, I don't push or advocate that for nobody but myself. And people still think I'm crazy for it. But I wake up at that time to give myself time to, like I do my devotional, do my journaling. I pack because I work full time. Like once I leave my room, I come pack my lunch for the next day. Like I meal prep, so the food is already there. It's just a matter of me putting it to the specific container and into my lunch box so that when it's time for me to go to work, I can just grab the whole lunch box out and go. So morning routine, pack my lunch. I come into the office. I give myself about an hour to work on my business before I then roll into my workout. So then I do my workout, which is normally about 45-ish minutes. From workout, we got to go take a shower, get dressed to get out the door to go to the actual job. And so for me, that's where the 2:30 comes in, because basically I get up, start the morning a little slow, do my personal development, do all the things, and typically by about 4:15-ish, I'm leaving my room to come into the kitchen, fix my lunch, get all that stuff together, get my pre-workout and all that concoction, my water filled up, ready to go. So about 4:30-ish, I'm in the office, and so typically from 4:30 to about 5:30, like 5:20-ish, I work my business. 5:30, I normally push play, finishing my workout by about 6:15-ish. In the shower, out the shower, clean the face, get dressed, all the things to be able to leave this house by 7:10 at the latest, between 7 and 7:10. So yes. And so maybe even speaking to that, like if you're not a morning person, how can you create a morning ritual or a morning routine that helps you? Okay, if you need to figure that out and be consistent with it, identify what's going to help you. And if you're not a morning person, quite honestly, you might can start this process the night before. Like I'm a night owl, I'm not a night owl, excuse me. Let me clear that up quickly. I am not a night owl. So typically for me, my evening routine is number one, I record a nightly story for y'all. And then other than that, it's me filling up my water bottle. Brush my teeth or whatever. But I filling up my water bottle with ice, and I normally like leave it in the sink to let the ice melt, and then I fill it up with water on top of that ice in the morning. So like that's my nighttime routine. Like I don't have this long drawn out nighttime routine. And so if you're not a morning person and you're more of a night person, maybe you do, I do make my to-do list for the next day at night too. Sorry, I do that. So for me, my nighttime routine is my nightly Instagram story, make my to-do list for the next day, fill up my cup with ice and water, clean my face, brush my teeth. Sometimes I do that early in the day when I first get home from work. Like on the weekends, I only clean my face one time because after I clean it after I come from my workout, and I don't go back outside. I'm in my room. Like we're not going back out that door. But if you're not a morning person, what can you potentially do in the evenings to set yourself up? Like I pick out my clothes for the week. I don't got time to be picking out clothes every day. But if you are a person who picks out your clothes daily, if you're not a morning person, can you set yourself up for success by picking out your clothes, getting your lunch together, doing those things in the evening so that you don't have to wake up as early in the morning to create that space? Because what the morning is about is starting your day strong. And so if there is something that you know you need to do every day, every morning, and so for you, I guess you have to first think about, is the need for the morning routine, and it can be both, I'm not saying that it's one or the other, is it for life or is it for business? Because if it's both, what can you potentially do to help set yourself up? Girl, yes, picking out the clothes and ironing them has helped you in the mornings. Yes. Yes. Did you go to that? Speaking of, did you go to that interview? You were supposed to go to see that man on Thursday at the breakfast place. Did you go? I meant to text you and ask you that. But nonetheless, I digress. So what does that really look like? Like, the work that I do as a coach is about helping you to find and identify what that looks like for you. Whoa, hey, all right. The work that I do as a coach is about helping you to find and create the plan and the system that works for you. I'm not, again, gonna advocate for nobody waking up at 2:30. Just like y'all been that advocate for me to be up at midnight. Find what works for you. And I think the reason some people struggle with productivity or their ability to get things done is because they're trying to follow the systems that everyone else is doing instead of adapting it to their life. So if you've been listening to this as we talking about this and you're saying like, all right, I hear you. I see you. I understand what you're saying. But what does my structure look like? Hi, I'm Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach. I'm here to help you to create a life that your career can't destroy. Literally is the work that I do. If you book a case review, it's free. Free 20-minute call. We can look at like your workload, your routines, your responsibilities, your time, your energy, your capacity, your attention, all of those things. And we can really identify and break down what's happening and how we can change that. So if that's that type of support that you need, or if you're not even sure if that's the support that you need, you can always just comment the word review or send me a DM and I can send you the details on how you can book a free call. Like, it's free. Exactly. Follow what works for you. You need, girl, this is a moo-moo. This is my moo-moo, child. I got this from Amazon. Thank you. Look, I'm back drinking my gallon of water. So my friend told me yesterday my skin looked really good. I'm like, well, thank y'all. And I was thinking I need a new face routine. Apparently I don't. Just drink my water and mind my business. So yeah, if you understand nothing else, I want you to understand that time isn't your problem. You don't have an actual time problem. It's the way that you're structuring your day. Being able to identify and understand that, hey, I need a morning routine. I need a morning ritual. Hey, I need to, I'm not a morning person, so what can I do to make my mornings go smoother? I'm not a night person, so what can I do to set myself up? Using your last off day to prepare for the week. So on Fridays at work, I do a brain dump and I make a to-do list so that when I come into work Monday, I know what's going on. Because also in me doing that on Friday, I know what days I have court. So when I come home for the weekend, I'm picking out my clothes for work. I know how many court outfits do I need versus how many just like office outfits. Or if I'm going to the jail, like where's my jail outfit? Yes, DM me and I can send you the link and all that jazz. And if it's anything specific that you need me to send outside of the co-working link, just let me know as well. Yes, come on, try this tonight for the week. I'm here for it. I love this for you. All right, ladies, y'all got any more questions? Any more questions, comments, concerns? Did y'all learn something today? What y'all learned? What y'all learned today? Tell me. We'll be back next Sunday, same time, same place. We go live each and every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless I be in the streets, but that's a rarity. We're gonna be home for the next month. We'll be back next Sunday, same time, same place for another live in the Success Starter series to help you to set your week up for success. Because in doing the work to set your week up for success, ultimately you're doing your work to set your life up for success. And I got into this whole productivity coaching thing because y'all was asking me what was I doing, and I didn't realize that y'all was out here struggling. And so I'm just here to help make an impact and help y'all make change by showing y'all and helping y'all to find and identify what it is that works for you. So if you find that your schedule keeps falling apart, hopefully this live helped you to understand how you can go about building one that actually works. Okay, great. This was helpful. Yeah, report back. Let us know how it goes. Just send me a DM. I want to know that it worked. And again, if you need accountability, if you need support, if you got questions, my inbox is always open. And we can go from there. People be sending text messages like, what date are you thinking? Girl, did you read the text thread? We literally talked about it. Anywho, I digress. Let me get off of here. I need to go eat lunch and get ready for my new client that I got to onboard in 15 minutes. So, Why your schedule keeps falling apart? Because you just scheduling all the things without taking into account and actually having a plan. And so the solution to that is start with the reality. Stop scheduling at 100%. Decide what actually needs to move and have some type of routine that ends your day, just like you have one to start your day. Not only help you stay consistent but lose weight. Your emergency isn't mine and ain't. Not booking yourself at 100% and leaving that wiggle room. Exactly. So they say clock it. I'm not gonna do it the way Erica be doing it, y'all, because she be stop scheduling at 100% for sure. Thank you all for being here again. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, for another week in the Success Starter series. It's time to go execute. Don't just take this information, take this knowledge, take these gems, take the teaching points that you learned and do nothing with it. Let's go execute. And feel free to share and just let me know. Like, send me a DM and be like, I did it, it worked. Or I did it and it didn't work. Because the only way you're going to find what it is that works is if you try. And so once you figure out what worked, keep doing what worked. If you find that it worked, but let's start tweaking the things that after that comma, the but. Like, if it did not work, what about it didn't work? Okay, the week pivoted and the stuff that I picked out. Look, when the fall and the winter time gets here, we look at the weather and then it be hot one day and cold the next day, but we can adjust. We can pivot. But nonetheless, I digress. Thank you all for being here, for joining in, for chiming in on this conversation. We'll be back next week. Until then, Coach Lee